Hi there, and welcome to Digital Minds and Dark Dreams. I am Cecilia, and I'm the tech savvy growth guru. I help you and your business thrive instead of just survive.
And I'm Alicia, the dark dreamer, someone who goes deep down in the Gothic and the Jungian world to actually look at the reality of businesses and why you too can make it in the world if you have an idea on a project. And is that a good intro? Yes, we've been wondering for a bit. What can we say? Because we don't really know who we are. Identity is such a strange thing, isn't it? It's just fluid. It goes, and some people say they know who they are, but we don't really know who we are, do we? And when it comes down to business, I think it's kind of difficult. When you get people for the first time, what is it that you first pick on, Celia?
It's in regards to the clarity of actually who they are, their brand. But as we both know, who we are and our brand and what we do can actually change along the times. So it's starting off knowing where you are here and just here and now, and then okay, how do I work with the things I have now, and how do I go further and work with my business and try to find out. It's like we both say, we don't really know who exactly we are because we're constantly changing. So the
Yeah,
more we learn, we're changing with the learning, and we're saying, okay, but maybe this is not completely me. And since we're both into the growth mindset, we're kind of evolving all along the way.
yeah, that's so true.
So if you are wondering why you should actually listen to this podcast with me and Alicia talking about digital minds and dark dreams, one of the first reason I think is that we're navigating through the shadows of entrepreneurship, because it's not that as long as you just launch your business online, everything is happy and everything goes well and you earn millions, because you don't. It's a long process, and as both me and Alicia know, it's kind of navigating through everything. You get to learn, and you have your ups and downs. So it's actually what we want to talk about is the shadow of this, and
Yeah.
just maybe be learning more about how to tackle this with Alicia's background in Jungian theory, and me with the positive intelligence and the meta coaching. So helping other entrepreneurs kind of navigating through the entrepreneurship.
Yeah, sure. And also, we were thinking, why would people like something like this? It's because we've been talking for a long time. You've been coaching me for a year now, more or less.
I think it's even more.
Even more, because we met maybe 2 years ago, or even more, longer than that. So the way we met was precisely through our own struggles to see the light
Yeah.
on the side, and to find out what we were doing wrong in our businesses and why were they not moving on. And what I realized was that there's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of people talking about entrepreneurship, but nobody is really talking about what goes first, which is something I've always said to you. The first thing really is to get clarity. You
Yeah.
cannot get clarity on even who you are, going back to identity, if we are a mess in our heads. And there's where, when I met you, it was really enlightening, because you helped me see that I didn't have to be that rigid with my decisions. There was another world outside of what I had been learning. And I think there's a lot of people still that don't quite get that they just do. Let's do the logo, let's do the branding, let's do everything. But what are you selling? And this is something you told me so many times, haven't you?
Yeah. And that is the thing about, I tell to my clients as well, is have fun during the branding process. Don't be too rigid. And I think I said that to you as well. It's nice to
Yeah.
have a logo. It's nice to have your branding, but your branding is also who you are and how you kind of come forth and how you portray yourself in both social media, on your website, everywhere you actually are present, even though it's live, as we kind of talked about a couple of last times now. It's just how you actually portray your business and sell your products or services to the people you meet. It's like having a short, sweet, I do this and I can help you with this. So what I say is kind of, I help you and your business grow and glow,
Mm.
because it's this interaction between you as a person and your business. And sometimes I actually get the question as well in regards to, are you, what do you say, a business coach, or are you kind of a personal coach? And for me, they are not separated. It's like, if you're an entrepreneur, you're both your your business and
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
So you're not kind of a split personality. You're combined. And
Mm.
that's also if you're not an entrepreneur, if you have if you work for what do you say, a company or an organization, it's still you at work. So how can you actually, you can't really
Yeah.
split the two and say this is me and I'm working now on me, because the things you work on, as I see with some of my clients, is that I had a client coming in and he was willing to work on himself because his wife had told him to.
All
Or else,
right.
if okay, she was working on herself and he said, okay, I'm going to do something on my behalf. And then he said that it was just amazing to see the development, because the things we actually helped him with in regards to the relationship, in kind of looking at the other person, is it's always 10% something right with what the other person is saying. And he took that to his work as well, and things
Yeah.
just shifted. So it's for me, those the two is kind of intertwined. You can't really. So for me, business and personal affairs are
Yeah.
not that. You are a whole person, and I told you that before when we've been coaching as well. It's like, what do you say? The picture I told you about. If you go into a store that's called Alicia, you can have different departments. You can have something there. You can have, yeah. It's like me as well. I have been working with digital marketing for the last 25 years. I have loads of things. I have a bachelor in film and media. I have
Mm.
design. I am a reflexologist. I am a coach. So all these things in my store, it doesn't really, maybe for people outside, doesn't really fit together, because they go like, what has kind of reflexology to do with digital marketing and then coaching, and Cecilie,
Mm.
what's this all about? And but it's me. This is the package you get.
Yeah.
So what is your package? What is your brand about?
Yeah. Yeah. In Jungian terms, we will be talking about the self, which is the totality of the person, with the conscious parts, with the unconscious parts, with the light and the shadows. So at the end of the day, what you want is to be this whole person. You want the self, as I said in Jungian terms. And it makes so much sense now, studying psychology for me, that we tend to separate. And many psychologists say that up to the age of 40, middle age crisis exists precisely because up to then, we dismember parts of our bodies, of ourselves. Like, well, I like crochet, but this is not going to look good if I apply for a secretarial job. So I remove it. This, I love the Gothic, but oh, it's entertainment. I'm going to remove that as well. And then you end up peeling yourself so much
Yeah.
that you get to a professional crisis, not just personal and existential, but also professional. Because what do you do with yourself when you are in a world that after a pandemic has to reinvent itself so much, and there's so many voices now, so many people out there, that if we don't actually bring all those parts together again, then we feel that we're missing something. And our brand and the business that we want to create suffers because we've not been honest, we're not being truth to ourselves, and we just put this persona, this mask all the time because we see other people performing. And I think that's one of the things that we were talking about when creating this podcast, this video podcast, that we really want to target and talk about these things. Are we wearing our personas all the time?
Yeah.
Or what's wrong with being a little bit more authentic and having a laugh? You know,
Like we like to do.
like we did this morning. You know, the first thing we did was we looked at our clothes and we thought it's not possible that we kind of agreed. I mean, a Norwegian dressing like a Spaniard and the other way around. So we decided to then put the same background.
Because we're the same.
Exactly, with the same motivation. And that's so important as well. What you get, how do you get clients when we get to talk to clients in whatever episode that might be? And it's because something that you do or something in you resonates with them. Because at the end of the day, we're talking to our collective unconsciousness. We're talking without noticing, we're talking to those parts of us we don't know they're there. We're talking to this archetypal world of precisely unconscious parts of us, and they go back, it's ancestral. We don't even know the origins of it, and we just know that resonates, but I don't know why. So you just follow the lead.
And that is also, if you put that back to social media, for example, so many people have, or entrepreneurs as well, when it comes to being present, like showing your face, doing like video recordings like we do now, and just what you see in social media it's all the people's highlights reels. It's kind of the perfect persona portrayed, like this is how I actually want to look, instead of, you don't see too many people crying or whatever. Not that we want the whole feed on Facebook or wherever with people crying and having anxiety, but it's, again, as you said, the persona in which we want to portray. We want to show our best, of course. If you go to an interview, you want to say that, okay, this is me and this is what I can do. Let's not talk about my dark sides or what I cannot do or what I don't feel confident in doing, or that I feel like an imposter. It's just, I want you to know this about me, and that is what we actually portray.
Yeah. And I think that that's very important, and there's a lot there that we could actually unpack, and there could be different episodes. But for me, for example, one of the reasons why people should or would like this podcast is that this openness and this freedom, even though you and I now are wearing our personas as well, because we both have, makeup and the hair's done, and, we want to look good. We also want to talk about as you said, the reality, to the many entrepreneurs. Like I have one of my clients, she came to the Gothic space because she likes that. And she happens to be an astrologist, but she wants to set her online business. And if you think about what is considered an acceptable business, which is one of the dark things, anything could be a business, but deep down, I think everybody considers certain businesses as being okay as businesses, and other topics are just entertainment or they are something else. And she's like, okay, I like the Gothic, I like all this, but right now I just need to know how to set my own. So in any business that you do, tarot reading, astrology, mediumnicity, whatever, you just need, it's a business. At the end of the day, you have to treat it as such. So you were saying, even though taking that to our nationalities, you and I come from different countries. And before I started coughing, you were saying, well, after I started coughing and I had to pause the video, you were bringing this to the table, that we're both from different countries. So you can, you remember what you're saying?
Yeah, and I can't remember exactly what I said in regards, but we've been chatting for so long for such a long time that it's just fascinating to see and how we actually interact with each other. Even though you're Spanish, I'm Norwegian, and looking at, even though we're on different parts of the world, there are so many similarities.
Yeah.
And all the laughs we're having and all the, it's like, and the thing about me and Alicia as well is that we don't really, we like to go deep. We like to go kind of and look in the dark where we can actually find things that can help us progress. And I think that is kind of where we kind of really bond, is that we're not afraid of actually touching into our darkness and see what's actually stopping us.
Yeah, that came up in conversation, I would say, mainly or maybe all the times, because you were saying to me, look, people are afraid of going deep. They get uncomfortable. And that's true as well in my space, because, well, even in your everyday life, people have a lot of difficulties talking about uncomfortable things like death, loss, grief, illnesses. As entrepreneurs, now I've got a cough, so I have to, look good, but I keep coughing, so I have to keep posting this. So again, my persona and my ego saying, no, regulated, because you're going to not look good. But the reality is that we get ill. As entrepreneurs, we might be mothers or parents looking after children. I look after my husband because he's got a chronic illness. And we still are supposed to be running the show. And clean your house, because it doesn't get done on its own unless you have a lady. But if you don't have the money, you don't have a lady. You are the lady. So all these things are so common.
Could you be my lady?
I'll be your lady if you live near the corner. You could babysit your animals. You could babysit mine and the children.
Yeah, but it is the balance, and we all kind of struggle with the balance. It's, for example, I have kids as well, and the balance between how much do I work. I'm a single parent for 2 kids, or not 2 kids, they're actually quite grown up after the years. But even though it's just, if I'm not feeling healthy, and that is one of the, like, for my values in regards to how I actually, what do you say, take care of myself. If I'm not healthy, if I don't take care of my health, I won't have a business.
Yeah.
So for me, it's kind of, I'm not good at eating, but I do eat healthy things. I forget to eat because I'm kind of really get into the focus if I first start off doing things. I get really focused, and I love my work. I love to kind of go deep. I love to go deep with my clients. I love to go deep, for example, when I'm writing things or whatever. So the importance of our health. And I think also when you said, like, you have to pause it because you want to look good, but you won't cough. But still, I know how annoying it is to listen, for example, to people coughing. So it's also in consideration to the people listening that,
That's
okay, because if it's bad, what I notice, I'm kind of a sound, I don't know, I think it's my old age. I'm really aware of sounds because I'm not really, but if I hear like podcasts or YouTube videos with bad sound, I switch.
Yes.
So
but that's a problem that we have in the society we live in as well. We haven't got the patience.
No.
Everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be done for yesterday. Everything has to be, as you said, with good microphones, with perfect lighting, but free. We need to go to the free stuff because it really drives me crazy. I send up an email list yesterday to my Substack account, and I said, hey guys, in 2 days, we're going to do module 2 of this course that I've prepared, exploring the Gothic psyche. And they are my free subscribers. So I told them 3 people unsubscribe. And I got really crazy because I thought, you just want things for free that talk about what exactly, because you don't even talk to me. So isn't this double-sided? We want it all, proper quality, but the person on the other side stops becoming a person, becomes someone who provides entertainment and provides all these triggers in your brain because you're addicted to services, you're addicted to your screen. So at the moment I create a little bit of discomfort, you just cut me off. And this is very dark, this is very Gothic. So I think that needs addressing on its own, I think, one day. Because I think
Yeah, but again, that's also in my head when I talk to my clients in regards to, for example, if you lose something on your newsletter list or your email list, it's just that was not the people for you anyway. So it's like good riddance. But even though it's kind of when you see that your list goes down and you go like, oh my God, I actually lost, say 10 people on my email list, you go like, oh my God. But
yeah,
in my head then it's just important to kind of turn the thing around. And that's where I work a lot with the mindset. It's like turning it around and saying, those people were not my clients anyway.
True. And that's what I think now, because after talking to you, this is what I've learned. But the first thing that comes to mind is, damn it.
Yeah.
You know? And then I get really angry. You wanted it for free. I know. And then I think, hang on a minute. I didn't have anything from them before. I still don't have anything from them now. Who cares?
Yeah.
You know, if they were really, when I'm really interested in someone, I let them know. And then I say and buy and talk. And if I can buy because I'm broke, then I still share the posts and I promote them because I can do that for free. And that's not going to cost me anything. And in fact, I'm supporting other creators, which is another thing, you know, when you're in the creative space, that people want things for themselves without thinking on how to do this exchange. And again, there's a lot of work to do psychologically, and I think you're very good at that. And you know, you've many times you said to me, stop looking at things in such a dark, from a dark light, because I come from a dark space, literally and physically, metaphorically, and all sorts. But then I walked out from the sessions with you, and I hope that this podcast does the same, the video podcast does the same, because I've walked out very happy. You've even made me cry of happiness because I realized, you know that, because I recorded it and I said, no, Cecilia, I believe in people again. How sad is that I lost faith in people? Yeah. And how great it was that I found someone who proved me that it's not as bad as you think, dear, you know, and you're there and you're there all the time, even when you are not well yourself, you're supportive. And for us to find genuine people like that nowadays, it's not easy because there's so many people out there as well. And I think you kind of, with these video podcasts, in a way, is to actually bring you to light so people know you as well. Obviously, we can also sell our products if people want to stay, not just for free. But they also, you know, it's just creating awareness at the end of the day, creating awareness and develop critical thinking on, don't just follow all the gurus that are loaded, that probably are not really even following their own things, and just really analyze, be critical. I think that's something that we're going to be doing here, because you and I have got it ingrained. I think it's in our DNA to be this genuine and to say, right, let's analyze things. Let's use our critical thinking and stop a moment and see how much of what they're selling us is actually true.
Yeah.
Because they're still alive. You see so many people. I see so many entrepreneurs are struggling, and I'm like, well, thank God I'm not on my own. But crikey, this is scary. There's too many.
But I think it's all also about authenticity. It's like, for me, it's like one of my values, again, is authenticity and humor. And that is what I kind of crave to bring into all my sessions with both clients or when I'm in social media. It's like, I have maybe a bad sense of humor, but I'm not afraid to show it. but it's being authentic and being yourself. And of course, it's not a pleasant thing to look at your dark sides. And as you said, for example, with the email list, if you see people unsubscribing, the first reaction you get is, it's like, oh my God, like, why don't they like me? Why don't they want to follow my stuff? Why? And then, but as I said, it's all about the mind shift. And that is where I think I can help people in these episodes in our podcast is just,
Yeah.
can we shift the way of looking at things? Can we shift the way we kind of perceive things, that the things that happen to us? It's like, can we shift the way we think about things?
Yeah. Yeah. And actually finding examples in the things that we do and the things that we consume, which is, I think, that's a space where I might be able to help as well people. Because, for example, if we look into, I know I'm not going to be selling people here Gothic literature, but I'm going to be helping people look at the Gothic side of things. And what I mean with that is the liminal, the strange, the otherness, all these aspects from Gothic literature that if you take them to an entrepreneurial context, it's actually this is just creating this awareness, looking at the dark side, going into the shadow space in Jungian terms, and to realize what is actually that we can do there. There's a lot of good things in the dark space, which is what you've been doing with me, taking it all out, but it's in a very dark space. And using what you consume, why do you watch what you watch? Why do you read what you read? The information that is there is telling you that is something unconscious talking to you. When you dream, we talked about the dreams as
Well,
well.
I love the way you guys, if we take people in our podcast and take them live, Alicia is brilliant in kind of interpreting dreams. And
Thank
she's
you.
taught me so many things in regards to, okay, Cecilia, it's like, I usually go to Alicia on WhatsApp going like, I had a dream like this and this and this. And she goes, have you thought, sometimes it's just like really, whew, okay, this is really mind blowing because this really, it fits so well with the things I'm going through. Maybe it's not like on top of my mind or my head. It's like, but it's something working in the subconscious, as you said the last time I sent. It's like Alicia had this really really bad dream. Um, it wasn't too bad. It was, but it's just the way Alicia actually interprets this and
Mhm.
gives me kind of understanding of okay, this is actually what's happening. And even though I'm not thinking about this every day, it's still down here working, and it's in my subconsciousness. So
Yeah,
that is something I think we will also go into in the podcast and look at how we can interpret dreams. I have many
yeah.
dreams, so we can do that live
Oh,
if I'm
no, no, yeah, is to give the audience and give our public tools on how to access all those areas by themselves. You know, to say, right, there's a dream work that you have to do for a long time. And again, this is not a short journey, which is something that it happens out there. And I think we need to say to people, these processes are long processes because we're talking about rewiring our minds.
yeah,
We're talking about removing bad habits. We probably even touching on trauma in some cases. We are not psychologists, but we can actually help people to create this awareness to go to a special guy, to a specialist, and say, take it from there. But writing, journaling, I know that it's like this fashion, everybody's journaling everything. But if you think about it, uh, when going back to Carl Jung and his psychology and analytical psychology, he spent years writing his red book. He spent years writing his black book, and it doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes you have a dream tonight, and you're not going to have a clue of what it meant, of what it means, until maybe in 10 years down the line. Not for all the dreams is the same, but we also need to learn how to slow down, how to live the moment. And the only way you can live the moment is by stopping and analyzing these parts of us. The unconscious side, we just live so much in our consciousness that
yeah,
we go outside in the world, and as soon as we wake up we forget who we were when we were asleep. So we kind of censoring ourselves, but we're also castrating a lot of the good stuff. It sounds really extreme, but it's like a
yeah.
castration of part of ourselves because we live in the society. So I think we're going to be able to give a lot of different tools from your expertise in coaching and all your courses and all your background which it might look a bit, where does that fit? But
Yeah.
as an entertainer, how does that fit with what we're doing today? Well, it will fit because I was dealing with a lot of people. I was
Yeah.
trying to make them happy by dancing, singing badly, but by being me. And I got paid for that. Then at some point, I was also a secretary. And all those parts of my life made me who I am now. They don't have to determine who you are, but you have to welcome them and then integrate these sides of us. And
Yeah,
I
and
think,
the integration about who we are, like what do you say, not the luggage we have, but the experience we've had all along
yeah,
the years. And not to kind of surprise anyone, but we have a couple of years behind us. So we have a lot of knowledge and learning, and we've been failing and succeeding, and just having all of this makes us to who we are today. And I think that what we talked about a bit previously was some people just kind of exclude some of the things they have experienced.
yeah,
But I think both me and Alicia is kind of, you need to actually take it in and see this is actually who you are. It's a part of you, and how can this benefit you going forward? And I think
yeah,
also when it comes to what is say experiences, I think one of my strengths is kind of looking at how can you turn this into a possibility, an
yes,
opportunity, a possibility. Okay, this bad thing happened, but how can we turn this into something good? Not that
yeah,
everything can be turned into something extremely positive or good, but what did I learn from it? So it's
yeah,
looking, for example, at a situation and you go like, okay, this really tragic thing happened to me, but what can I learn? And how did I actually respond to it? Because I think if we were to ask some people just on the streets or in this podcast, going like, how do you actually feel sadness?
yeah.
They wouldn't have a clue. It's like if I was to tell you, okay, how do you feel sadness in your body? How do you feel happiness? How do you feel
Mm,
excitement? It's like, where can you separate the two? Because, for example, I had a client who was, she was struggling in separating when she felt in love with an experience she had from her childhood. It's like, so every time she fell in love, she was terrified because the feeling in her body reminded her of a bad experience. So she just fled. So she felt this really good feeling. She met some guys and said, okay, this is really brilliant. And she felt this, and as soon as she kind of felt that, like probably like the what do you say, love and excitement and everything, then she was like, this
butterflies.
is, yeah, this is not good. So she
Mm,
was like, "Oof, okay, I'm off because this is not a good. So as soon as we kind of try to separate the two and go like, yeah, but what is the difference between these two situations? The part where you actually feel the anxiety, where you feel like this is a bad thing. So what separates the two, where you actually know that you're in love, between this one, which was really a bad experience. So working with this and looking about, okay, how can she differentiate the two
yeah,
feelings?
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and it's what you were saying before. It's just how we interpret feelings, our own reactions, but also what people say to us.
Yeah.
I was thinking of with my last session with my analyst, that I said something like, I was kind of telling her how I felt the previous session that was a bit not so good, as you know. And I used the word strict, and what was the other one? That she had been a bit strict and a bit rigid. And for me, they're kind of synonyms, and they can work together in the same. Exactly. But she went, but they're not exactly the same. So we went, as a linguist, I felt a bit, again, I should know this, because yeah, there is a difference between rigidity and being strict. Even though if you're very strict, you can become rigid.
Yeah.
She was actually saying all the definitions and everything that each term involved, and we forget about the vocabulary, the meaning of these words. Over time, as a linguist, I'm also an English philologist. So over time, vocabulary changes its initial meaning with use. And also different people have different experiences with that, which matches what you're saying about that friend of yours.
But it's a funny thing as well, because when you talk about, for example, just take a word like respect. So what is respect for you? Respect for you could be totally different than respect for me.
Mm.
So the way I interpret respect might be that if somebody has respect for me, they kind of bow when I go into the room. Or it's like, yeah, call me sir or madam, or it's like, yeah.
That would be good though. One say, yeah, okay, someone has respect for me. Yes, come on, put the red carpet on the floor.
Yeah, but it's just the way, and that is when I do the coaching as well. It's the way I do the coaching. No, we haven't really gone really into the coaching, but is I'm trying to kind of interpret when you, for example, say to me, but I'm affairing this. So what is the fair of? What do you have a fair of? And what does the fair do to you? And if I were to kind of be in your shoes, how would I feel? How would I think? How would my body react? So just getting people to know themselves as well. It's like, okay, now I'm getting stressed. So how do you get stressed? What are you stressed for? And going, for example, I think I told you about this. Is like going really into the situation where you feel the trigger. So what is it actually that triggers you? For example, say you and Alistair having a disagreement.
Alicia is my husband, by the way.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. And for example, say that he just says something to you. It's like, I've had enough. For example, you have an argument and you say, I have had enough. And he may be rolling his eyes. And you get triggered. It's maybe something else. But what is actually triggering you? Is it the sentence he's saying? Is it like, I've had enough, which maybe triggers something from previous years or previous situations? Or is it the thing that he's actually rolling his eyes? So what is actually triggering you? What is the like really going deep and going like, what is it that triggers you about the situation, about the conversation, about something that you actually got to know? Oh, okay. I'm actually, I'm getting stressed because he's rolling his eyes, because that reminds me, as you said, we all have trauma. We all have experiences. So the thing that he's rolling his eye reminds me of, for example, my mom, who used to roll her eyes when I didn't do well at school or whatever. So looking at things, what is actually triggering us?
Yeah, but I think this is very important. I'm thinking when talking about running a business and having clients, because excuse me, we have clients who can actually trigger certain buttons and make us react in a way that we might regret later.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking of, I had a physical school, for people who don't know. It was a language school. And now, after we closed it with the pandemic, so it's going to be like 4 years. It's been 4 years now. But I still pretty much have the memories and the experiences of what that was like very present. So when I get someone that I don't know in the street saying something about learning English, and it's something on the lines of, oh, it's too difficult, I don't have the time, I go, boom, like a bomb, and I just bite the head off of that person, because it reminds me of I know exactly what they're going to say after that, because I saw so much of that.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I think there was a point where I said, I need psychological help. I can't just be biting people's heads off out there. So yeah, what you say at a personal level is the same. But when we take it, when the personal, and you cannot divide it anymore, it gets to a point where you are the self, and you can divide your private or previous life in another business with what you're doing now, because you have these triggers.
Yeah.
Or you call them saboteurs, don't you?
Yeah, I call them saboteurs. But it's also because the thing that's why I said in the beginning also that you can't divide like who you are with your business. For example, not talking
Exactly.
about Alistair, your husband, but for example, if you are in, say, you're in a webinar or you're with a client and the client says something that triggers you, it's
Exactly.
a good thing to actually have been dealing with this and knowing that, okay, I won't allow this guy to trigger me because, for example, I have a lot of clients or in the area where male, male, the male population. We got like you're just a teeny tiny girl and tap tap tap. You go like, and that
The Steve, yeah,
yeah,
Steve
it's
Gang.
like you're just a secretary, dude. Don't know what you're talking about. Whatever. It's like, and that used to trigger me a whole lot. But now it's like, if that's you
It's got
and that's
issues. Yeah, it's more.
yeah,
It's they have the issues, not you.
yeah, they really have huge issues in my head. But I won't let it trigger me because I've been dealing with this. I've been kind of treating that part where I know that I get triggered. So
Yeah,
it's just seeing that you can separate the two again. It's just
yeah.
you are you, and it's all really intertwined.
It is. It is. Yeah, and I think it's important that some people might get put off when starting a business, a brand. They might get put off by this side of things. I was thinking, oh, for example, I'm really into writing a book. I've been meaning to write a few books for a few years now. And then I think, oh man, but writing a book is not just writing a book. Once the thing is done, which I'm not scared of the whole process, is the fact that I have to present it to people.
Yeah,
Is that I have to do and leave my house and go to libraries, go to places, to bookshops, to go to whatever, to present this book and sell it on social media and be annoying and be, ramming it down people's throat. I
and that's
just
where I
hate
can actually just catch you right there and there. You can be annoying. So in my what I listen to now is Alicia saying, "Okay, selling is annoying."
yes, yes. But a lot of people, we do have that. Talking the
Yeah,
other day to someone I also know, Sarah, she was saying, she's a healer, as a other with other things as well. But she's like, I just can't be bothered getting clients that are gonna keep postponing their visits because they have issues. That's a super hot point as well. Sometimes we don't start our businesses because we know how other people are going to react and we can't be bothered with that reaction. I guess
yeah,
it's also got to do with age. When you get around about the age of 50, you're just like, I can't be bothered with this anymore. I'm sorry. That's it. I've done that. I bought the t-shirt. I don't want it. I don't want it
yeah.
anymore.
It's
And
like
I think,
deal with your own stuff. So if I'm trying to sell you
yeah,
something, just yeah,
yeah, but if you make an appointment, don't just start canceling it over and over and giving me all these excuses,
no,
because they are excuses. And eventually you end up a little bit fed up. So I think it's important that we also learn how to deal with all these issues, because they're not going to go away. People like that are going to always be there. And we cannot need to live with it. Just like you said before, you before in the past you would be annoyed or triggered by these men tapping on your head, oh good girl, and now you go, boy,
yeah.
whatever. It's your problem. It's your issue. I know who I am. I know what I'm doing here, and I know my value and what I can bring you. If you want to see me that way, it's your problem.
You'll lose
So
out.
right, yes. So at the end of the day, it's about being confident and being happy with who we are or who we've become, and not feel embarrassed because we have a baggage and we have trauma, and we might go to the analyst, like I went, in Spain, going to the psychologist. It's like, oh, you must be crazy. There's something really wrong with you. When actually the whole population could benefit from that,
Absolutely.
you know.
Yeah. But that's
And
the same thing with coaching as well. I think that so many people would benefit. In Norway, for example, coaching is not that well known. It's like you have what I started off with saying, like business coaching. But
yeah,
it's in my mind, it's just scratching it's just, yeah, how can you be a better leader? And then do a couple of things, but it's not actually going deep where they should go. So for me, it's kind of, people should do more coaching and actually get to know themselves. In my head, I think so many people would benefit from it. And for me also, coaching, like if you're going to see a therapist, psychologist, or a coach, they're all intertwined with the mental health, which is kind of my passion. It's because so many people are struggling with mental health issues.
Yeah.
And having somebody you could speak to that can help you, maybe, as I said, switch your mindset, learn a new way of thinking or looking at things, and just going, okay, maybe, I haven't really thought about it this way before.
Yeah.
But another thing is that I think so many people in our society now, both when you talk about entrepreneurs, but also like personal private people,
Yeah.
they're alone. And it's that is kind of more a pandemic, that people are more isolated and more alone. And even though the digital, which is my kind of place to go, the digital is really, for the two of us, for example, it's been really connecting people, but at the
That's
same time,
right.
it's really also separating people, because they're on this side of the screen and all the other things are happening outside of the screen. And when they close the phone, they're all alone.
Yeah, but again, that's everything has a positive and a negative side.
Yeah.
And you are constantly saying in this session now, is about balance.
Yeah.
And that's another point where we both agree. It's about balance. Psychology is about balance, and coaching is about balance, and having a business is about balance as well. So everything really is about balance. And when things go extreme, it's bad news. Whether it's one way or another, it doesn't matter. It's just bad news, because we live in a world full of wars. We live in a world full of mental health issues. And it's got to do with the way we live in. It's hectic, and the powerful are very powerful, and there's the poor are very poor. Yeah, and then there's people in the middle that we're struggling, and we're trying to make a living of helping others or being ourselves. Because I don't really know anymore. What is your myth? Why are we here? What is the purpose? Are we here to help others? At some point, I thought I just want to be me. I just don't want to look after anybody. You know that I had a phase where I don't want people. I hate people. I hate humans. I'm a human. I hate myself. And it's because there's so much information. There's so much also what we'd expect it to do that we forget who we are.
Yeah.
Or who we want to become. So I think this video podcast is going to be really good to talk about all these things, but really in depth. No, like I've been looking around and I've not found really like people going deep. There are many podcasts that go deep and that go with interviews are fantastic. But I think there's still more to go at. I think the iceberg at the bottom is still too big. So what would you say? Do you think we should wrap up and do like main points and to say what are we really going to be concentrating on, so then people know?
Yeah, bullet points.
Yeah, the bullet points. Because we've talked about a lot of things, like on the surface, but for you would be like maybe 3 main things, and then I'll give you my main 3 like takeaways from today's first episode 1.
Takeaways from this episode, or what would benefit people for listening forward?
Yeah, both. Yeah.
I think that this podcast will give you something in regards to looking, as I said, about the shadow sides of entrepreneurship, first and foremost. And then I think also you will learn a lot about how to shift your mindset, because that is where I work a lot. It's like tools you can use for your own sake, and how can you look at things differently. And for my side of the table, I'm really into tech. I've loved tech all my life, and I've been working with digital and social media for the last 24 years. And I think that we can also bring up some tools that can help you with your business. So having tools and programs and maybe we could do some of the things where we actually talk about what is it, real business, where we go
Yeah.
into, okay, this is kind of how me and Alicia's worked, or this is how I work with my clients. What do you look at when you, for example, build your brand? What do you need to take into consideration? So looking into digital things, digital tools, branding, yeah, that would be something they would really learn more about in this podcast.
Yeah, and I think for my side, I think it'll be more like to create this awareness around our cultural backgrounds as well, where we come from, who we are as people in reference to other people, the language side of things, because interpreting what the other people are saying and the meanings and how language and even idiomatic expressions and things that we say sometimes in meetings and in your like in our case that my YouTube channel is bilingual, and sometimes I do find that I can't say exactly the same thing for the different type of audiences. So depending on what type of brand people are creating, they have to bear in mind who they are, as in who they are, as in where they were born, and how they present themselves in a worldwide that is very colorful, and they need to take into consideration all of the things, but also the going deep in people's brains again, into analyzing, like if you do with a literary text, dream analysis and fairy tale analysis and literary in literature in general. When you analyze what you read, what you consume, what you watch, it also gives you a lot of information about yourself. So I think we can actually also help people to find ways of what to look for when they're watching TV, less passively, but be more active with it, to pay more attention to their dreams, what are these dreams saying, but also where do they go for entertainment and how to make the most of it with notebooks. I create a lot of um, notebooks and notepads and little booklets. So
Yeah.
we'll be able, I suppose, as people come with questions, we'll be able to put together material that will blend the digital and the dark, the dark side. Not the drag. I keep saying the drag. I'm not a drag. The dark side, and just put the best of both worlds. Because I think it's the more things we can use for helping others in their own journey, the more tools they're going to have to figure out who they really are and where they want to go.
Yeah, I think we can help people listening to this podcast go deeper within themselves.
That's right.
I think that would be the main thing, that if you listen to us and try some of the things we're saying, and maybe when we have some interviews or whatever, maybe that's you, then we can go deeper into your psyche and see, okay,
yeah,
how does this affect you? So I think a deeper understanding of themselves will be a benefit from listening to us.
Yeah, I think so. Totally. Well, I think that was a very good beginning. I think this first episode quite enlightening. I'm glad that I left you talk, because I tend to run you over. And yes, and I'm really looking forward to the next episode number 2. We're going to try to do this like every 2 weeks. We say twice a month.
Yeah.
So we're still in creating our brand, talking about branding. We're still putting things together, but it's getting really easy because we're quite alike. And that's the other thing when you work with partnering with other people, that is important that you have a lot of things in common.
Yeah.
And that it just flows. And it's like when you're in love, it just flows.
Flows in your nose. And I think also a thing that we could share is, for example, this podcast and how we're thinking about the branding and marketing within. So yeah.
It'll be everything. It'll be a holistic podcast, because we need the internal aspects, but also we need the tools.
Yeah.
And to stop people from going to so many different places, that they can find all in one place. And I think that would be great for them too.
This is everything connected: head, heart, health,
abilities, yes, everything.
psyche, digital.
Yes.
Yeah.
and very dark.
Yeah, at least a black background. But
Yes,
I
we
hope
might
that people would continue listening and that you will follow us and listen to our podcasts when we release new episodes.
likewise. So yes. So thank you very much, everybody. We hope to
Thank
see
you.
you in the next session, in the next
2 weeks.
video, podcast, YouTube, whatever. Yeah, because we are in both places. We'll put any links in the description of the video when that's uploaded. And if we think of any materials or any free magnets that we might be able to give people to visit us, we can do that as well. So we'll talk about that one. And thank you very much. And what is our banner? We can put it now. There we
Yeah, just
go.
put it on.
Yay, lovely.
Okay.
Okay, so I speak to you very soon. Well, you
soon.
don't go. We say bye to people. Speak soon. And it was a pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.